Paul, what kind of week has it been with the excitement of that and then the excitement that's to come?
Exciting. It's been a great week. I mean, wow! If you can't get up for a week like this, we've got serious problems, haven't we? It was a brilliant occasion on Saturday. Um, I've got to say, I was absolutely shattered after it. It was real, mentally and physically draining. The day was, and the way there is a celebration at night. I was ready for bed by about 9 o'clock though. It just felt like a long day, and then it's been a big thing. I mean, I've got to say that the staff over in the office in the East Stand have been absolutely magnificent this week. Everybody's come in and they're pulling together and getting tickets sold, and there's been a backlog because of the early rush for it. And credit to them, they're for me, they're the stars this week. In this early part of the week, they've been outstanding. So big thank you to them. And the players have got about it in the right way. We've had some good training days. We got them back in on Monday because I wanted them to come back down to earth. I wanted them to start thinking about football again. The celebration bit has gone. I wanted them back in and let's get the football right. We've dealt with all of the planning and the tickets and travel and all the sort of periphery stuff that you have to get dealt with. We've dealt with that now. They're going to get a rest day, and then we'll be back in and ready with the final bits of preparation, ready to go down to London.
Worth mentioning that family members have been in to help, your wife amongst them. How do you manage this, Paul? There's that bit there, you said it on Saturday, you described it as some of the stuff that goes on has to be dealt with. How do you park that and get the players really focused on the job?
Well, that's where I wanted it done early part of the week, and myself and Sarah, we sat down a couple of weeks ago, Sarah McKnight, and said, look, because there's such a quick turnaround, we need to have something in place. And myself and Sarah did it quietly. Nobody else knew about it. There was no, it's not a case of we're being arrogant and we think we're going to be there, because we knew it was a tough ask. But we had the conversation. Sarah went and put all the provisional stuff in place that needed to be done with a really clear plan of what was going to happen. And literally, as I came across the pitch on Saturday evening after doing my media, she was stood there waiting. We sat in the dugout for 5-10 minutes and said, right, are you still wanting the plan as we've discussed? And it was, yes, let's go, let's get it all, let's crack on. So she's been brilliant doing all of that, and all the players now know exactly what they've got. They've all got the ticket orders in and bought the tickets that they need to do. They're getting them all today so they can get them all dispersed as they need to, because when we come back into train on Friday and Saturday, it's about football. It's about dealing with the football side of it, right? And they all know that. They know where we what we need to do and where we're going to be. And I think that's the really important part of it, that we've dealt with all of that and we now can crack on with the football side of it.
It is different though, Paul. Everybody has to acknowledge that. It's the fact that it's such a huge game on a huge stage and everybody knows where they're going. They're not playing here at Brunton Park. It's a special trip with a huge prize.
Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely fantastic to be involved in it. I accept it's really difficult for the supporters because the travel's a nightmare. We're such a long way from Wembley, and there's trains that can't get you there on time and all of that. And I'm hearing stories about the prices that coach companies are charging, which is outrageous. And it's a horrible part of these situations, that everybody looks at it as a money making exercise, and it's wrong, because the supporter on the street is the one who suffers. But I hope we can get good numbers down. I totally understand that there's a lot of people who would love to be there, can't be there, but I'm quite sure we'll have a good following. And if they can't make it down there, I'm quite sure we'll have a good vocal following, watching on TVs, watching on the screens, wherever it might be. And we've just got to make sure that we go, and my message will be play the game, not the occasion. We've got to enjoy the occasion, I accept that. But we have to play the game. And I remember going back, God, I don't even remember what year it was. My first experience of Wembley was with Manchester City in the full Members' Cup final, and I got so nervous about the day that I couldn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy anything about it, and I made a promise that if I ever got a chance to go back, I had to enjoy it in case there was never another. And that's what I've always tried to do. And results haven't really gone my way when I've been at Wembley, but I've made sure appreciated the experience and appreciated everything about the day.
The fact that we played Bradford made those two semi-final games huge in themselves. Has it encouraged you with the way that the group has dealt with this?
Massively encouraged me. You know, I've said it before and I accept it. We were nervous at the start, but I think once we got over that nerves, we showed that we could deal with the situation. And if we're ever going to get nervous, it's going to be in the second leg here. We're a goal down. We're in front of our biggest crowd for years inside the ground. An incredible atmosphere was created by both sets of supporters, I will say. And the players showed that they can deal with it. I thought our level of performance was probably, it's fair to say, as good as we've had for a long time. And I'm just hoping now that we've learnt how to deal with the nervous part of it. We've learnt how to deal with the occasion. We've learnt to cope with live TV cameras. And now we have to go and show that we can cope with it on what I think is the biggest stage in English football.
And that adrenaline, energy, whatever it is, it was harnessed and used in the right way, wasn't it? Everybody was really at it.
Oh God, without a doubt. I mean, I look at the physical data from the game, and lads were covering distances that they've not done. Well, they haven't done it since pre-season. Even we didn't have a day. We had a player who did sort of 16k, another one 13.5. They're all up around those figures. You know, that is some going, because we don't generally run those sort of distances in a normal game, and certainly even on our toughest training days we probably wouldn't do that distance. So they've shown they've got the physical capabilities for it. They've shown they've got the mental ability to deal with it. What I want to do now, I'm challenging them. Can you go and do it one more time? We may need another few players to do 15 kilometres and deal with the whole mental side of it. But I think they've shown that they've certainly got the mentality for it, and hopefully we can do that.
What a job you've got on to select just 11 to start on such a big stage.
Yeah, it's a lovely challenge to have. I'd much rather be trying to select an 11 and an 18 rather than being on my holidays now. It's a lovely challenge and it's great. Everybody wants to be involved. We've got a full group. There's Finn Back, obviously, is not going to be available. I've already spoke about him weeks ago. Jack Ellis isn't going to be available. Apart from that, we've got a full squad to choose from, and they all want to be involved. They're all doing the right things and making the right noises. And I know there'll be some disappointment, but I also know once they're over that disappointment, every single person will be wanting the best for us.
You kindly let us show that video from after the game and the team talk up to the fans, and they can see the togetherness. That's a fact, isn't it, that whoever is picked, the rest of them are there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, there is you know, I've said this before, every time we come in from a home game, the first players to greet the players, the lads involved in the match, are the ones who are not involved. They're always in there, so there is a good togetherness. There's a real spirit about it. My only disappointment from that video going out was the fact that I swore on it. I let my emotions go too far, so I apologise about that. But they're together. They want success. They want it, and this is success. If we can achieve it, wow, what an achievement it'll be. It'll be fantastic for everybody involved, not just the players, but the staff, the office staff, everybody who's connected with the football club, for the directors who've been through the mill, the supporters who've had a tough few years. We've all got so much to look forward on the day, and I really want it to be a successful day for us.
I've tried not to, but I did. I looked at League One as it is now, the shape of it. What a division to be in. That's the incentive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm going to tell you the truth. I haven't looked at it. I'm not looking that far ahead. My focus is Sunday, making sure we're ready for this day, making sure we're ready to go and perform. And if we do perform and we deserve it, then we'll be in League One, and I certainly will look at the league table then and see what we're going to be up against, who we're going to face. Otherwise, it's prepare for League Two if it's not the right performance from us.
You called it way back in, was it June? Yeah, it was June when we all got back together, wasn't it? It was going to be a marathon. It's been one heck of a marathon. It would be nice to win that marathon, wouldn't it?
Oh, wow, wouldn't it just? I mean, I think back, it was June the 22nd was our first day of pre-season. We're talking 11 months of work, you know, and that's, I think back to my days as a player. I remember getting 8 weeks of solid rest and not having to do anything. The players might get 4 weeks this time, so it's a long old slog. And let me tell you, that isn't a complaint, because we are really fortunate to be involved in professional football. Really, really lucky people. This has been a really good season. now can we go and make it a fantastic season and really be able to go and enjoy everything.
Last time you were here, it was Cardiff and Stoke. This time it's Wembley. Will this be a little bit more special, leading the team out on that surface?
Yeah, of course it will, because that's my dreams as a kid, was to play at Wembley. It's where you want to be. So my days of walking out as a player have gone. So now I've got the opportunity to lead them out as manager. I led Shrewsbury out as a manager there in the playoff final. I've been there as an assistant with Steve McLaren, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It's going to be proud, isn't it? It's a day to look forward to.
What's it going to mean for the family?
It's a great day out, isn't it, to start with? They'll enjoy it, I'm quite sure. Jack is in a really difficult position with Jake in the other dugout. I know where her allegiance is. She wants Carlisle United to win. It says that's absolute 100%. It's a good day. We've got everybody there. My mum and dad are there. Both of the boys, the other boys are going to be there. So it's a great day out. Something that we've all sort of gone through and made sacrifices for. I know that sounds really a bit twee, really, but we have had to move up and down the country because of football. We've all stuck together, and whatever happens this weekend, I'm quite sure we'll stick together again.
There comes a point when your staff's job is done and it's over to the players. What's the last thing you say to them for an occasion like this?
The same as every other one. Go and enjoy yourself. And I've learnt that in football, that you have to go and enjoy yourself. There will be a message of finding a way to win, but it's go and enjoy yourself. Go and savour every moment of the occasion. And I genuinely do believe you enjoy things much more when you win on days like this.
There's another team there, Stockport. They'll be thinking exactly the same.
Oh no, there's no doubt about it. They've been gearing up to be successful as a football club and as a team for the last few years, with the investment from the new owner that's come in and the way they're going about it. They expected at the start of the season to be promoted, so there is an expectancy there that probably wasn't with us. But now that we're there, we expect to win. We are going to go and do everything we possibly can to win. And the challenge is who can deal with the game better. We know that we went through two really tough semi-final games. I've watched their games against Salford. They had two really tough games that had to go to penalties. So I think it's set up to be a really good game of football. I hope it's as good an advert for League Two football as our two games against Bradford City were. I hope there's the same level of mutual respect that went between Bradford and us, as in the supporters, as in the players, and certainly the staff, because Mark Hughes and Glyn Hodges were absolutely superb after the game, and I hope it's a good advert for League Two football. Talking
of staff, everybody, nationals, are all really interested in the fact that it's father-son in the dugout. It's bound to be, because it is a quirky story. What's it like for you to have your boy in the opposite dugout?
It's going to be tough. I'll have to watch what I'm saying, but when the game starts, it's no different. I remember going back to the Stockport game when we played at Stockport, and I went out the dressing room early, which I always do. I let the players have the last couple of minutes on their own, and I went and I got in the dugout, and I looked across and Jake was there, and I'd forgotten that he was there. But my mind was on the game, and he sort of come up, and it was like a bit of an uncomfortable what do we do, but I always give him a hug, so I give him a hug, and same here. It'll be the same at Wembley. I just hope I'm smiling at the end and he's not.
It could go to penalties, and you've already told us, you confirmed that you practiced that for the semi-final legs as well, so that won't come as a shock to the players. That's something they're ready for.
Oh no, they're ready for whatever happens. We've prepared for penalties last week. The preparation for it has continued this week. It'll continue all the way through to our last session on Saturday as well. Not because, and I said this to them at the start of last week, I'm not doing it because I expect it to go to penalties, but I'm doing it just in case it goes to penalties. And something I learnt from the FA was a thing that we did. It wasn't a case of practicing penalties, because you can't simulate the emotions that are going to go through players' minds, but you can prepare yourself for them by coming up with whatever process you want to do to prepare for penalties. So that's what we're saying. It's not a practice, it's a preparation for it, because penalties, people say it's down to luck. It's not luck. Taking a penalty is a professional skill, and if you can hone those skills by doing it repetitively, you've got a better chance of being successful. And we're doing all the preparation. I hope it doesn't come to it. I hope we can deal with it in 90 or 120. If it does come to penalties, then we will be prepared. That doesn't mean that we're going to be better prepared than anybody else, but we will be prepared for it.
Crop of players who have never experienced anything like Sunday before, even including what we did against Bradford. Is this where the experience of yourselves, people like Hunt, Steno, who've been there, can they help with that?
Yeah, I think over the whole season, the experience of myself, of Gavin, of Paul Gerrard, of Greg Abbott, we've all been through these things, but the experience of the players has helped the others as well, the other players who've not been through it. So it's not a case of one particular person, staff or player, doing a job. It's everybody. We'll all be able to do it. I'm quite sure there's young players in that change room who can show a calming influence and can be helpful to somebody else. And I think that's the good thing in there, that we've got a group of players who all understand other people's needs, and there's times where somebody needs to be left on their own to get their own thoughts together. Somebody needs to have a conversation with somebody else, and I think that's where what we've learnt about each other, going back to start of June, and then when we went up to Largs for pre-season training where we lived with each other for 5 days, you learn about personalities, you learn about what makes somebody tick and what knocks people off. And we're still learning, we don't know it all, but I think those experiences that we've all lived and been through, we will have to put into practice to help each other this weekend.
Just finally, Paul, I spoke to a couple of the lads already this week, and they've got a theme: Wembley's for winners. There seems a real awareness of this is a great occasion, but there's something that we need to achieve at the end of it.
I think this is different, isn't it, in a playoff final, and unfortunately I'm talking from experience here, because there's nothing for second place in a playoff final, nothing at all. When you go to a cup final, you get a runners-up medal, you still make the walk up the steps and everything. As a playoff loser, there's nothing. You have to be a winner. So Wembley is about winning. Nobody, unless you're a real football stato, you'd no idea who lost in playoff finals. You know who's been promoted, you don't know who's lost it. And we have to do everything we possibly can. There's no guarantee, because we're going with a positive attitude, that we will win. We have to do everything to try and find a way to win.
Paul, thank you.